Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new or if you're stopping by for the first time, my name is Ijoma Mado. I am a YouTuber and I make content regarding the Igbo language, Igbo culture, Igbo tradition, appreciation, general appreciation of culture. And on today's video, this one is one of a kind. This video will be centered on one of the negative traditions of the Igbo culture that I don't like. I love being Igbo, I appreciate being Igbo, I love my Igbo cultures, but as in every culture, there are some things that you don't like. In today's video, I will be talking about the main reason why Igbo women especially remain in abusive relationships / marriages, even when it is a threat to their life. Well, following the recent death of Minister Osinachi, Nwachukwu, we've read and we've heard about what many people are saying. Those who knew the woman, what they said about how her life was under her husband or the circumstances surrounding her death. So in today's video, and I want to tell you, she is not the only one. There are many Igbo women out there, at least Igbo women. I know there are women everywhere in the world suffering due to domestic abuse, physical, emotional, or psychological. But today's one, I am talking about what I know about the Igbo society. So the main reason why people remain, or why women remain in abusive relationship, is usually there are many reasons, but the subjects matter. The main subject why they remain in abusive relationship is what? Fear. They are very afraid of what their life will be like while living and also in death. You heard that? They are afraid, one, of what their life will be when they are alive. I'm sorry, I am outside and there's a train station very close. Okay, there is a train station as well as a railway. Obviously, with the train station, there's a railway across it, so the train just moved. It might be noisy a bit. So the main reason why many of them are afraid or remain in abusive relationship or marriage is they are afraid of going back to their father's land, house. Reason being that they don't have, it's quite unfortunate, but in traditional Igbo society, women don't have an inheritance in their father's property. Like I heard in the Yoruba society, the women inherit something just like the men folk. But in Igbo land, a woman will often tell you that, oh, you don't have any inheritance here, you only get an inheritance in your husband's house. Of which sometimes in your husband's house you don't also have an inheritance. There are some factors that might make you not to get any inheritance in your husband's property, but that's not the topic for today. So many of them remain because they are afraid and of going back to their father's house. You know, in Igbo society, women are raised mainly for the purpose of marriage. They aren't raised to be independent. It's just like, that's why you see people from their father's house, women move from their father's house straight to their husband's house. Of course, it's changing presently. So presently you see young girls living on their own, paying their rent. But before, it wasn't so. They will remain in their father's house until a suitor comes, and when it works for them, or when they feel this person is good enough for them, or when their parents decide, in some cases you will see them, they would then move to their husband's house. So they'll be like, oh, they can't go back to their father's house because they don't inherit anything there. And then comes the fear of not being wanted again. Many people remain there because they are afraid of being alone. They often say, oh, if I should leave, will I be able to get married again? Will I see someone else that will marry me, and what have you not? And then they are also afraid of what society will say. Even their own parents. Some parents will also make their children remain in abusive relationship, even though it is a threat to their life, because they are afraid of being stigmatized. They are afraid of what the society will say. Like, there is one I read recently. She said her mom was the president of the CWO during her time when she was in her abusive husband's house. Okay, she said she lost a tooth due to domestic violence, and people came visiting her. Instead of them to tell her to leave, they were all busy telling her, oh, don't worry, we were all there. It is the same knife they use in cutting us, but now our husbands are tired and no longer beat us, so keep enduring. And they were not telling her the consequences of her leaving her husband's house, what the consequences would be. They told her, oh, you know, your mom is the president of the CWO. The moment you leave, she will stop receiving communion in the church, and then they will strip her of all the titles of the CWO chairman, of the president. They'll strip her the title of being the president or the chairwoman of the CWO. But she said her mom never budged. She didn't mind of all these things. She just came straight to the hospital, told her to pack her things, and fiam, they left. And luckily for her, her mom was able to send her abroad. And then come along the line, she was able to meet someone else that cherishes her just the way she desires. So one of the reasons is parents are also afraid of being stigmatized, and they're also afraid of their daughters being stigmatized. That's even some reasons sometimes. Let me not deviate. So I've already said fear of being alone, fear of not getting an inheritance in their husband's property, fear of being stigmatized, and then some people also remain in abusive relationships because they are not financially independent. You often hear them, oh, if I live here, what will be the fate of my children? How will I survive it? I can't pay the children's school fees, I have nothing doing, blah blah blah. And that is why we keep preaching financial independence. Whether you like it or not, there is nothing like being financially independent, especially in Africans, in Nigeria, where the government does little or nothing to help women who are estranged from their husbands, even when kids are involved. So they will be like, oh, I cannot do anything, I have nothing to, I don't even know where to start off from. Like I read a post the other day, someone said, since you were born, you can't say you have nothing. Since you were born, at least you've been able to pass primary school. That means you have a brain. And then if you're reading that post on Facebook, it means you have a phone. So you can also do something with your phone, just as I'm even doing with my phone now. So people are always afraid of financial constraints, that they cannot do anything on their own. And you know, especially when it comes to people who are married to buoyant men but who are still abusive to them, they are always afraid of not living that kind of life that they are used to. They are afraid of, oh, where will I start from? I will not have enough to maintain this lifestyle. So they decide to stay to enjoy while covering their eyes with shades in the name of fashion. It is quite unfortunate. For me, I would tell any woman, if you know you're in an abusive relationship, you better pack your things and go. The earlier you start planning yourself, the better for you, because you can't just be in a situation that is a threat to your life. You have to live for you to even experience all these things. You have to live to even be afraid. You have to live for people to say something, to have something to say. If you die, people will still talk. So what is the essence of you saying, oh, what people will say? You will die, people will cry for you. And then those children that you're afraid of what their fate will be will still exist. They will still survive it. I know there are many people out there who are from the separated homes, but they are doing well in the society, even better than some people that are from homes that their parents are still together, but then in emotional abuse. So they'll always be like, my children, I can't leave my children, what will be their fate? What will people say? The emotional trauma. But then have you considered the emotional trauma those children are even going through, just seeing their mother being hurt? Okay, just like this, I just keep imagining what life will be like for these Osinachi's children. Like what will be their reality, knowing that their father contributed in what killed their mother, allegedly, if it happens to be as people said. Like, what would be their fate? How would they grow up? How the psychological effects, how will it affect them, knowing that their father killed their mom? For me, I don't know, but for me, I would tell anybody in an abusive relationship, the moment you leave, you will see yourself, you will not die. I know many people who are separated from their husbands that are even doing better than they are doing presently, more than when they were living with their husbands. So the earlier you start living, the earlier you live, the better for you. You have to live to live. You have to live to tell your story. With all these videos flying here and there, you still see people who will still remain in an abusive relationship. No matter how you say, I know I cannot preach enough. Even this one I'm saying, I'm just saying it for myself, to myself. They're just like pouring water on a rock. That no matter what you say, and okay, someone said the other day, oh, may heaven help those who are suffering from abusive relationships. Then my friend on Facebook said, no, we have to help ourselves before heaven will help us. You cannot just come and say, oh, heaven help me, let's pray for those in abusive. Me, I won't even pray for you, because I don't know if God will answer that prayer, because you have to help yourself first before people will help you. If I pray from today to tomorrow, if you don't want to help yourself, nobody will help. My prayer will not even work, because you're not willing to help. They say you can only deliver someone who wants to be delivered. And what I am telling you is that it's just like, this electric pole. If you touch it or if you lean on it, you are liable to get electrocuted. But you still go ahead to hug this transformer or hug anything. You know what it means? Of course, when someone purposely hugs a transformer, we say the person committed. If you are also in an abusive relationship and this one is beating you blue black, being a threat to your life, the only day you die, for me, you committed, are we going to cry for you? People will still talk, oh, they will make pity, blah 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 blah, but the truth remains that you commit. You are saying God hates divorce. Does God like? The question you should ask yourself. Why make someone not leave? Run. The earlier you run, the better for you. And the last one, but not the least, which is even more shocking, is that women remain in abusive relationships just for them to have a place where they will lay their head. after they are gone. Can you imagine? They're no longer worried about this present life. They're now worried about what will happen to them after life. They are worried about what will happen to their corpse when they die. You will often I hear people in my village say sometime in the past, oh, meaning the reason why she's still in that marriage is just for her to see a place where she'll be buried, or just for her to get at least a mini befitting burial. More like, you know, in Igbo land, women, like I said before, women don't have an inheritance in their father's property. So most times when a woman dies, or even a young lady, they don't get any portion of land. So most times when a young lady dies prematurely, or even especially when you die without having any other thing to your name except existing, like you just exist to eat and digest food, live, like if you never achieved any other thing apart from just managing to eat, the moment a woman in this situation dies, they'll just bury her, and they will not even bury her close to the house. They will bury her far away, what we call ekpa, meaning a forest. That is where they are being buried. So sometimes women are afraid of being buried in this ekpa, like they are afraid of being buried alone. More like, you know, in the past they say it's evil forest. And when they do this, they were like ozemena, just your spirit should wander, your spirit shouldn't come back to the family, rather your spirit should keep wandering, so that it will not repeat itself again. But not only women who are in their husbands who never got married. Like I know someone who died some weeks after her wedding, and then her husband's people intended burying her in this forest we call it, but then her siblings intersected them on the way and collected their sister's corpse, took their sister's corpse and buried her close to their family house. For them, they said, why should their sister be left alone in the forest, even though it wasn't her fault that she died? But then that is not what tradition asks you. Like, so in this situation, the man refused burying the woman close to home because for him, oh, we just got married, so that she will not come and disturb my spirit or whatever, or so that it will not repeat itself again. Let her spirit go away. We don't need, like, it's crazy. So at least the good thing is, okay, you know, and also in Igbo society, like before, buying of lands wasn't really a thing. So in those days, women cannot even afford to buy a land. Like they are still struggling to survive, still struggling to feed themselves. Talk more of buying a land. So because they cannot buy a land, then they are still subjugated to being buried in this ekpa. I'm sorry, I'm calling it just like we call it. They are being subjugated to being buried in the forest. So most times they cannot buy a land. But in this present situation, in the present day society, even though some people will still require the signature of a man before they are able to sell a land to a woman. So in this present society, a woman can easily buy a land. You can even pay for a space in the burial ground where you will die, where you will be buried after a ripe old age, not when you are being cut, when your life is being cut short in the name of marriage and you still expect to have a peaceful, like you don't have a peaceful life. Why will you even rest in peace? I'm sorry to say that. No insults intended. I'm sorry. No offense meant. But wait, if you didn't have a peaceful life, what makes you think you will have a peaceful death, or you'll be peaceful when you die? Live to live. Live to live. I know people who are no longer living with their husband that are doing better. So stop the fear. They said at the opposite end of fear lies the life that you wish and the life that you desire. So imagine a situation whereby you keep on postponing and postponing, wishing. At the end of the day, even look at it, even in your old age, you just live without having lived, without any joy. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen to any woman, living without joy in your heart. Anyway, I don't intend this video, I don't want this video to be too long, but these are just some of the things that make it difficult for Igbo women especially to leave their matrimonial homes, even when they are being subjugated to life-threatening situations. Anyway, I hope God gives everybody out there who is experiencing similar situation the courage to leave, to let go and start afresh. It's not easy, but it is doable. I can only pray for courage for you so that you'll be able to leave that situation that you found yourself. But if you tell me to pray for you or pray for your husband to change, I'm sorry, you cannot change someone who doesn't want to be changed. Ụmụnne ọ wụtọ ha n'ọnụ ya gaziere onye ukwu gaziere onye nta egbe bere ugobere kesi ibe ya ebele nkukpakwa ya. Yes, ofonogo anyị niile ga-abụ gịnị ọ bịara egbu anyị ji aka egbu onwe ya. Anybody that wants to kill us will kill himself. That is what it means. That when they pinch you, it will hurt you. Don't go pinching someone else. Don't go doing something to someone else when you know that when it is being done to you, it will still hurt you. Don't be a wizard or even a witch and poor at the same time. You cannot be the two. It is an abomination. Anyway, have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye.